Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. For this video, we'll go over the market, Tesla, essentially what happened today. CPI did come out. Clearly, it was perceived quite well. It did come in rather lower than expected, which is quite good. It's still overall very high, but lower than expected, which is potentially a sign of inflation, again, potentially peaking. Of course, we'll still need a few more months in a row to kind of get a better idea to make sure that's actually happening. But for now, it's not too bad. So that being said and done, Tesla and the market in general today up quite a bit. Tesla up almost 4% at $883.07. Compared to the QQQ, or I guess the NASDAQ, essentially 2.8% to 3.9%. Tesla slightly underperforming, but not by much. It still did fairly okay. I mean, in the morning, it just completely dumped and then just pretty much rallied throughout the rest of the day, which is quite nice. And I'm still holding my one bullish position that I did enter yesterday, which was that 810 put. I'm just going to probably let it expire. But nonetheless, it is what it is. So let's talk about it, right? What can we expect coming over from Tesla? So the daily chart, right? Let's take a look at that first very quickly. Remove all the drawings just for now. And you can see the candle is, it's a decent candle, right? It's kind of neutral, and I'll explain why. So the reason it's kind of neutral is this, right? So the bullish aspects is the fact that it has a very, very, very long wick at the bottom, which is good. That shows that there was a lot of potential, clearly, some buying pressure happening on 32 million volume, which isn't like insanely high, but it's not low. It's respectable. Let's just say that, right? It's good enough, I would say. Again, so showing a lot of buying pressure on this fall, which is a good sign for now. But the issue is the fact that it is still a red candle, meaning that we did end the day lower than what we opened, which is a bearish thing. So you got a bullish and a bearish thing kind of contradicting each other, which makes this candle a little confusing. But the point of this is the fact that the second we came up to this level, you can see Tesla has started, and the market in general, not just Tesla, but the market in general has started to really slow down, right? Showing that there is going to be, potential exhaustion happening around this level, right? So this is something very, very important to keep in mind, right? The fact that we see something like this for this long is, not necessarily a good thing. To me, this tells me that there is exhaustion of buying. The buyers, the bulls are starting to get exhausted, and this, the bears or the sellers are starting to slowly take control. We'll see what that actually turns into, but we are currently trading kind of, within this little channel that I drew on the 30-minute or 15-minute, are essentially trying to break out of it. So we'll see what happens with that tomorrow. But essentially, I'm currently watching this channel and the SPY channel on the 15-minute as well, or 30-minute, whatever, kind of the same thing, honestly. Which, this is why in the SPY I said yesterday, where, you can enter the position on a breakdown like this if you want, but it's safer to wait for a retest. And this is why, because, sometimes, it might just be a false breakdown, which in this case, it clearly was. However, the SPY, even though it came all the way back up here, is still respecting the top channel of, or the top part of this channel, as you can see quite clearly over here. So that's something else to consider. The VIX is just getting completely pummeled though. I'm not gonna lie, the VIX does not look very good. So I'm actually extremely curious to see how this ends up playing out. I did not think we'll get a fat red candle like this today, I'll be completely honest. So that's a little, we'll see what that turns into. I'm very curious to see how this ends up playing out. Right now, I'm a little bit, unsure, to be completely honest. At the very least, I expect a retest of about $21.5 to $22 on the VIX, and we'll see what happens. Again, this could also easily just be a false breakdown, similar to what we had in the SPY. We'll need a few days to, of course, really assess that and see what actually happens with that being said and done. So going back to Tesla on the daily, we're still well above the 21 EMA. I'll remove the drawings for now so you guys can see. Well above the 21 EMA, which is, of course, the yellow line, though it, of course, is also catching up to us right here. So this is going to start getting a little bit, spookier, let's just say, if we start crossing under it, right? Moving along, of course, we have the Bollinger Band almost at the white line, but pretty damn close to it. I still expect to essentially touch it or get very, very, very close to it. Closer than what we have so far. The 50, we're still well above the 50. The 200, we're still below the 200, getting rejected ultimately. And the 10-day and the 5-day, we are still pretty much sitting right at them, right? Arguably above them, but we're pretty much sitting dead smack on both of them right now, which is going to be also quite interesting to see how this plays out tomorrow, if we can maintain above it or if we just get slapped back under. So tomorrow could be pretty important to see what happens with that right there. And the final thing you can also look at sometimes if you want is also the 100-day moving average. That's also a pretty important one. Now, moving over to the RSI, right? So the one thing that's, again, an issue with the RSI that I'm still kind of leaning more bearish than bullish ultimately, regardless of what happens in the very short term, again, being, maybe this week, maybe the next week, something like that, is the fact that the RSI did make a lower low. I don't like the fact that the RSI made a lower low, showing a little bit of weakness. Thankfully, not a crazy amount, but nonetheless, still some weakness over here being shown. Potential, like almost like a head and shoulders pattern being set up on the RSI. This could also be an easy head and shoulders pattern being set up here. We can have a shoulder here, potential head over here, and then potential shoulder setting up over here. We'll see what happens with that, of course, as well. You know, that can turn into many, many different things. So there's a lot of things potentially forming right now that could potentially be, you know, fairly bearish. You can even argue that there is a kind of a head and shoulders being formed here, with this being the head, this being the shoulder, and now we're kind of forming the right shoulder right here. So in my opinion, there's more bearish patterns and situations setting up than there are bullish ones, right? Again, so not necessarily for the very short term. Again, the very short term being the next, you know, maybe a week or so. It can go up, obviously up or down. But the point is the fact that over the longer period of time, again, maybe by the end of the month, or especially in September, I would be genuinely surprised if we aren't well below where we are right now. Let's just say that, like easily into the 700s. I would be actually quite surprised if we're not. Obviously, there was news about Elon selling shares that obviously, you know, put some pressure on Tesla stock the past week or so. He did say that that was the final part of the sale for the potential Twitter deal closure, which, you know, who knows when that's going to be at this point, right? But the thing that's concerning is the fact that there's too many people that are trying to spin anything that happens with Tesla, which, you know, I understand. I'm a huge bull myself, but not everything is a bullish thing, right? And in this case, Elon selling is not a bullish thing. Like, sure, he said he was done, but he also said he was done, like, you know, 4 months ago or something like that. And clearly he just had a random sell out of nowhere. So, you know, the point is you can't always just take his word for complete, you know, you can't take it just at heart, or face value, I guess is the way to say it, right? You can't really take it at face value every single time, because again, he did say he's done selling, like, what was it, like 4 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that, whatever it was, back up here somewhere. So yeah, just, you know, keep that in mind, guys. You know, it is something to consider, of course. I personally don't really care if he sells or doesn't sell, but, you know, it will potentially put pressure on the stock. I'm personally just still being patient. I still think the whole market in general is going to be dumping. I'm still ultimately net bearish on the market. I would still be surprised if Tesla doesn't revisit somewhere around that level I was talking about, being like, you know, 500-ish SPY. I would be surprised if we don't revisit at least 350. So yeah, ultimately, I am net bearish. This is also a lot of green in a row on the SPY on the weekly. You can see even on the daily, so which I personally don't like to see. The more green I see, the more bearish I get. The more red I see, the more bullish I get. Ultimately, so at least on the major things, not like penny stocks, on, you know, major, like, you know, indices, or like, you know, tech stocks, like the big cap ones, major cap, mega cap. Penny stocks, if you see a lot of red, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a time to be bullish. Those things can go red for like quite a long time, right? But, you know, mega caps and indices are a little bit different, right? It's a little bit safer, it's a little bit more secure. But yeah, so the one thing that's good about the SPY is the fact that even though it's still respecting this channel at the top, which again affects Tesla, it's still on the daily at least making a higher high in the RSI. Meanwhile, Tesla, of course, was just not really able to really do the same thing that the SPY is currently doing. So again, the fact that Tesla made a lower low and now it's kind of trying to push out back to the similar level, but it's like not even remotely close to this, and it's even below here back when we were still over at 840, and you can see it's, you know, well below that, is a bearish divergence. So again, it is what it is, you know, in the short term, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of bullish momentum, you know, in the short term, potentially maybe a day or two or something like that. But ultimately, in the longer time frame, again, like a month, 2 months down the line from now, I would be genuinely surprised if we're not fairly lower than where we are currently. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing at the moment. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.